Do you want to play Dragon Age the Veilguard, but wondering about whether it's going to be accessible or not? Boy, do I have an exclusive for you. I'm Steve Saylor, I'm blind, and if you're wondering how I can play video games and what I can see while playing video games, make sure to check out the video here or link in the description down below. So thanks to EA and BioWare, they have reached out to me to ask if I wanted to share some accessibility information that they are putting out as of right now about the accessibility that'll be available in Dragon Age the Veilguard that is coming out on October 31st. I will say, unfortunately, I don't have any footage of any of the gameplay or any of the accessibility working. I do have some images I can be able to show you, but that is basically it. Any of the gameplay that I'm going to show you now is mostly gameplay that's already been released, but the information that I have is exclusive to accessibility. And anytime I bring up anything that's specifically in options and the options menu that I do have a screenshot for, I will show that in full here. So I should also mention as well that what I'm going to be mentioning is mostly the highlights of what I found was stuff to be that was worth interesting talking about. If you want the full list, EA has an entire page dedicated to the accessibility of this game. I will link the link in the description so you can be able to get everything. Also as well, they did tell me things are subject to change in the final version of the game, but these are what they are committed to having in the game at launch. Let's dive into the accessibility of Dragon Age the Veilguard. Okay, so they have broken down the features that are noteworthy into 4 categories: visual, audio, controls, and gameplay. And that's how I'll talk about the accessibility today. First up is in the visuals. They do have options for subtitles. You can be able to turn on, basically just have it completely off. You can have conversation only, excludes ambient NPC dialogue, or always all audible dialogue, and by design, captions are embedded into subtitles to convey non-verbal sounds that progress the story or add additional context to some story beats and spoken words. There's also advanced subtitle options that we've seen in games before, where you can be able to adjust speaker names, turn them on and off, backward opacity, text size, and also colors for Rook, which is your main character, and also the NPCs. In regards to the user interface, they do have the ability to be able to increase the text size. They have 2 size options and uses a simple font. I don't know what the 2 different sizes look like, but it's good to know that they have UI text size increase here. They have full screen colorblind filters, which is not the best for accessibility. More in regards to the filters, it's better to be able to have specific colors be changed instead of just a filter overlaying over top of the gameplay. But hey, this is BioWare's first kind of foray into accessibility. I'm okay with that for now. Hopefully they update it. Persistent dot, you can be able to have a center dot on screen for those with who deal with anything like motion sickness, or you need a specific point on the screen to be able to focus on. You can be able to hide HUD elements as you do in most games. You can be able to adjust the visual design and assists. Melee threat indicator provides a halo around the player character's head to warn of incoming melee attacks. So kind of think of like Batman Arkham Asylum, where you kind of get a little bit of an indicator above you when you're about to get attacked by melee. There's also a range threat indicator, provides a visual line to show the direction of incoming ranged attacks. We've seen that in other games before, and I think in even some of the gameplay we've seen that too. It's a little bit kind of thin for me when I've seen it from the gameplay, from what I've seen so far. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue if there's a lot happening on screen. Visual cues are present during combat and exploration where no game critical information needed to progress is conveyed through sound alone, which is great. Visual effects, basically you can turn motion blur, camera shake on and off. You can be able to adjust the depth of field, can be set to on for cinematics only, and on for gameplay only, or on for both. You can turn those on and off. Being on causes some elements of the scene to be in focus and others to be out of focus. Oh, okay, so that's like a little bit of like a background sort of blurriness effect to the gameplay. There's a vignette that you can be able to turn on or off, which creates a subtle darkening of the image towards the edge of the screen during cinematic and gameplay to enhance the atmosphere of scenes. There's also low health screen effect, which will give a blurry desaturated effect across the screen whenever you are low on health. You can be able to turn those on or off. Yeah, now let's move on to audio. Audio settings, they can be able to adjust the volume sliders, speaker type, 3D audio, and also mono audio, which is huge for deaf and hard of hearing players. Now this is cool. They got Accessibility sound effects, or SFX. It's available and has a volume slider. Audio cues provide additional feedback for some visual mechanics, including an incoming attack indicator, target lock-on, and conversation wheels, which also is works with glint ping SFX, and it's also available where spatialized SFX will play at object locations when pressing up on the D-pad. Depending on the exploration preset selected, players may need to adjust the object glint visibility and object marker visibility settings to pulse short for this functionality to work. So what this means is that there's going to be audio cues for anything that's happening on screen, and also for conversational wheels as well. I don't know what that will sound like, but it seems that there are going to be some decent audio cues. And then there's also going to be a sort of like a sonar kind of beacon glint effect, a sound effect that you can be able to hear whenever you press up on the D-pad, whenever there's an object or an item that's nearby that you that you would want to be able to know what's nearby. This is actually pretty neat. So it may not be the perfect sort of navigational assist for blind players, but this could, I love to be able to see how this works, and whether or not this could actually be a fun little thing to be able to include in other games, being able to use this accessibility SFX and glint ping, because we haven't seen those specifically for blind players in a long while. Now moving on to controls, you can do input remapping for basic gameplay controls. Movement actions can only be remapped between analog sticks, so unfortunately we'll be able to use the D-pad for that one if you want to be able to remap those, or at least on when you're using controller. You can invert access, all the vertical, horizontal sensitivity, all the stuff that you normally would see in a lot of games kind of already for motion controls. Basically, you can also adjust the vibration intensity for global, gameplay, environment, and cinematic. Button holds, you can be able to disable UI holds, can be set to a hold or a tap. When tap is selected, various UI interactions that require input held for a period of time can be activated with a single tap instead. Does not apply to gameplay actions. There's ability wheel controller activation type, you can be able to set to hold or tap. So when you see the ability wheel where you can be able to sort of chain attacks from different or different abilities from different players, different NPCs in your party, you can be able to set that to hold and tap instead of having to hold it and try to be able to navigate around it. You can just tap it and it'll be able to just pop on the screen, and you can move your cursor as need be. Also, blocking and aiming requires sustained holds. Aiming without holding is possible if the persistent dot is enabled, which can be used as an alternative to the aim down sights reticle. Pretty cool. This is great. No QTEs. You can be able to set that as an option. Rapid input sequences, you can be able to adjust that. Simultaneous inputs, quick and precise timing is not required for progression. Finisher moves, which are optional and hasten the end of combat, may require faster reactions. They also have combat assist available in the combat presets to further simplify inputs during combat. Includes aim assist, aim snap, combat timing, and more. Speaking of which, this is in the gameplay section. You can be able to set aim assist to off, low, medium, or high. Aim snap to on or off to snap to targets. Prevent death can be turned on or off, but it's only available in the storyteller difficulty preset. Enemy damage has 5 options to adjust the strength of incoming attacks. Enemy health also has 5 options to adjust the amount of enemy health. Enemy aggression has 5 options to adjust on how aggressive enemies are during combat by changing how often they attack and how difficult they are to stagger. And enemy resistances has 3 options to adjust how much enemies can resist incoming damages. This will not affect the natural resistances some enemies have based on their faction. You can be able to set enemy vulnerability and also combat timing, which is you can be able to adjust the timing windows for executing dodge, parry, and perfect defend actions. I would love to be able to see if this ties into the accessibility SFX setting as well, where it kind of gives you a sound effect and you have a little bit of extra time in order to be able to do a perfect dodge or parry, which I would love to see happen in the game. Exploration customization, this you could choose between presets of no assist, pulse only, standard, directed, or custom. Object glint visibility can be set to off, pulse short, pulse long, always to change the visibility of the glint highlight on interactable objects. Glint distance can be set to close, standard, or far to change the distance of where glint highlights or interactive objects will appear. Objective marker visibility can be set to off, pulse short, or pulse long, and always to change the visibility of objective markers. Waypoint visibility can be turned on or off to toggle the visibility of navigation waypoints leading you to your quest objective. So it seems like that they're doing a little bit of a navigational assist in here. I think with the object glint sound effect that'll happen, I think with the combination of that, this could really help blind players be able to navigate the world around them. I love to be able to see that. Then there's also guidance and progression. There's a library where you can be able to access a bunch of different lore and the codex. No information whether or not this is going to have any screen reader to be able to read that for you, but there is a library available. There's tutorials. There's world and local maps. Waypoint visibility can be turned on or off. Objective marker visibility can also be adjusted. Pausable gameplay is available by design, so you don't have to worry about by pausing the game you're going to get hit. You can be able to pause it and the game no problem. And saving is robust, where autosave is frequent and players can manually save anytime outside of combat, cinematics, and dialogue cutscenes. So that is it for all of what I have for the accessibility that's going to be in Dragon Age Veilguard. Is this enough for you? Do you want to be able to see more? Let me know in the comments down below. I know it doesn't look like it's going to have screen reader or menu narration in any way. That's a bummer, but I think we're going to look into the audio navigational assist with this accessibility effects and object glint visibility sound effects. I would love to be able to see how the navigational assist works in this. This will be worth looking into, I think. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.